my interview. In the conclusion, if a HR person is trying to choose people for an organization, knowing their value is very important. If they are not consistent with organization's value, they are not likely to stay along. Now I want to introduce Ryan to discuss the job analysis and performance review.
Thank you, Evan. So how is job analysis used to review performance of employees? This is mainly done by the managers to see how everyone's doing within the company. To reiterate on what Frank said earlier, what is job analysis? Job analysis, the purpose of job analysis is to establish and document the employment procedures such as training, selection, compensation, and performance appraisal. That pretty much works hand in hand with everything. Why job analysis? Job analysis is mainly based on the job itself as opposed to the person working the job. The overall analysis is the specifications and full description of the job as opposed to the individual being assessed. So it's basically the description of the job as referred to the actual employee. Primary reason for an organization to perform job analysis is to ensure that they choose between the job applicants, that they're valid and defensible, mainly saying that everything's going to work out well for the employer if they chose to hire that. Workflow is a big part of job analysis. One part of workflow is design. That is the process of analyzing tasks necessary for production of a product or service. Questions job analysis aims to answer: why does the job exist? What physical and mental activities does the worker undertake? When is the job performed? Where is the job performed? How does the worker do the job, and what qualifications are needed? That's important because all of those go into the job and the hiring process. Task-oriented procedures. Task-oriented procedures put an emphasis on the actual activities involved in performing work, so it's actually like what the job actually entails, what you actually have to do. And that, as referred to, work-oriented procedures is actually different. Work-oriented procedures aim to examine the human attributes needed to perform the job successfully. So it's not actually the task that you're going to be doing, it's like the attributes that you as an individual will have instead. Methods of job analysis: observation, interviews, questionnaires, surveys, PAC, which I'll get into, and checklists. They're all good ways for a manager or someone that's doing the hiring process to go through and really touch on everything. Observation. Observation is used to gain knowledge of the position simply by watching. Notes are typically recorded when observing an incumbent worker in the area of expertise. That's important because that person's an expert, so observing them is only going to benefit like seeing how they're doing their job because they obviously know how to do it. Interviews are obviously very good because you're able to tell like from someone that's actually going through the process like how the job's going to be performed and like really what it entails and how they really feel about it. Questionnaires, surveys. This is a good technique. Questionnaires and standard surveys are a great way to get responses and feedback from individuals. It's good basically because the experts are gonna like directly answer the questions about the job itself. So you're hearing from their mouths pretty much like what you're gonna have to do and their experiences as like they're doing it. And the PAC is position analysis questionnaire, and it's a common tool mainly used to measure job attributes from the tests. Job component validity is a relationship between tests. Checklists are pretty basic. Checklists are used for incumbent to dictate what duties or tasks are necessary to describe the job. So basically what it is, it's just like a checklist saying like this, and that, like what actually happens during the jobs and like the responsibilities that are also included as well. Recruitment and selection allows the hiring process to see exactly what the job entails and who out of the applicants, like out of the pool that they have, who would actually fit best for the job. I feel like that's the most important one because you're seeing your entire applicant pool and then you're picking like tailored to who would do the job the best. And compensation estimates the value of each individual job depending on the skills, such as education, specific skills tailored to the job, and safety, which is always important when working in a company. Performance appraisal compares each employee's individual performance and allows a manager to set standards for the job and overall performance. This helps the manager mainly set like when they're going to hire new employees, seeing what they want specifically, like how they want their employees to like react and how they want them to do their jobs. And training is obviously important because you can't really do your job unless you're trained to do so by your manager saying exactly how they want the job to be done. Conclusion, all of the previously mentioned aspects of job analysis are all beneficial because of the way in which they develop job standards for improvements, safety, and overall well-being. And now I'll be introducing Christian, who will continue our presentation by covering the methods of job analysis.
Alright, so Ryan already touched on a couple of the different methods, but I'm just going to go a little more in depth. So there's many methods for analyzing a job, including checklists and sampling, but the most common are through conducting interviews, questionnaires, observations, and having employee diaries. Interviews are flexible and they fit all types of jobs. They're usually one-on-one interviews, but they can be group interviews. The main purpose of the interviews is to gather data and information from the employee. There are two different types of interviews. Structured interview follows a certain format and asks all the participants the same questions, and the unstructured is more conversational and doesn't have any prepared questions or format. The employers use the interviews to find out how an employee feels about his or her job. It's a good time to express any positive or negative feedback concerning the environment of the workplace. Questionnaires are filled out by the employees, the supervisors, and the management. They can be biased, so the best way to go about it is to explain to them that it's for their benefit, and if not done properly, it's a waste of time and money. Using the questionnaires, they figure out how to make adjustments in the workplace. Multiple people could report shortages of staff, where the manager could look to hire more people, or certain procedures aren't working as well and they need to develop new ones. The observation method, employees observe and they take note of what tasks and duties are performed, and they suffer from biases also because not everyone interprets everything the same way. They use the observations to, it opens up their eyes to employees that are performing well and look to possibly promote them, and it also determines which employees are being unproductive and consider possible consequences for them. The employee diaries require employees to observe themselves by keeping diaries of their job duties, how often they perform them, how long it takes them to do them. And these are sometimes reported as distractions for the employees, and it decreases their performance, but they are beneficial because job analysts can use them and make good job descriptions from them. There are many different aspects of a job that are analyzed, including the performance of the employee. The environment can have an effect on one's ability to perform, including hot and inclement weather. Some jobs require certain tools and safety equipment to be used or worn, and they must be stated in the job analysis. Additionally, any necessary skills, knowledge, and abilities needed to perform must also be stated in the job analysis. 2 years ago, I was promoted at my job. My general manager is always watching and listening to all the associates when we're working. He's always aware of how we interact with the customers and whether or not we're doing everything we're supposed to be doing. He trusts me, and he trusts me because he observes me all the time and he knows that I always do the right thing. And the point I'm trying to make is that some things just seem so natural you don't realize that there's actually methods involved in everyday life. Another example is same manager. He often has informal interviews where we'll just be working on the floor and he'll ask me like how things are going and if there's any issues or anything that need to be addressed. So in conclusion, Frank talked about the overall purpose of job analysis, the basic steps, and how to determine training needs. Jackie talked about compensation. Yang Feng addressed recruitment and selection. Ryan talked about performance reviews, and I ended with the different methods